Hello, everyone. I am making this recording because I just wanted to share a bit of information with you that I've recently put into implementation in my life. And it's something that I knew for a while, I just never acted on it. And I hope it helps someone. I recently found out that there are certain things in your life that certain things that go on in your life that you just have to conquer right here at this point. It's instinct, natural instinct. Well, I don't want to say natural instinct, but it's instinctual to most people to remove themselves from a situation instead of staying in the situation and dealing with the situation and conquering whatever is in that situation, which is causing you to be uncomfortable. For instance, if you're in a relationship and you guys fight all the time, or you have trust issues, and or you keep meeting, let's say you're in a relationship and you always meet the type of person that wants to argue with you. You always meet the type of person that gets under your skin and can push your buttons. And that's always that type of person that you meet. And you get upset and you say, I don't want to be bothered. This is the only type of people I meet. I don't deserve this. So I'm going to move on. And you get into another relationship and you meet that same type of person. What I've learned is that sometimes we have certain spirits within our bloodline that follow us because there are certain things in us that we need to surrender to God. And because we don't surrender these things to God, it's an open target for the enemy to come in and out. And he knows what to do to trigger that thing in us that will cause us to act unseemly and that will cause us to be hindered in the will God has for our lives. So I've learned that to remove yourself from the situation does not help. What you need to do is you need to resolve the situation right there. Because if you ever notice, there are some people who just have recurring situations. They always go to a job where the boss is against them, or they always they always find a relationship where a person cheats, or you have some people who will always get into a business venture and then it fall through, or always get a job and then wind up losing the job. And it always seems to be either the same type of situation where they lose the job because the company winds up downsizing, or they get into a bad relationship and the person winds up cheating because of lack of communication, or whatever the case may be. Or sometimes you may experience something that's recurring and there's no rhyme or reason. You may experience a boss that never likes you and you can't understand what the reason is. You've been as cordial as you can be. You've done what you're supposed to do. You come in on time, you leave on time. If they ask you to stay later, you will stay later. But for some reason, the boss just does not like you, and the boss is always working against you to give you more work, to get you fired, or to get you to leave. And this is something that occurs over and over and over in your life. And there's no exact reason for it happening. You just can't understand. A lot of times that's something that's in the bloodline. And you have a lot of self-help books out there right now, which will tell you that when you're in relationships with people, that it's you who needs to change. it will tell you that you just have to accept people for who they are and move on. And and to some extent, it's true in the fact that it may be things in us that we need to change. And I say that because if we change, if we allow God to work within us and change those things that need to be changed, that closes the door to the enemy, and it closes the door to whatever spirit is coming in and out and working in our lives and causing us to be uncomfortable. So that part is true. The thing I don't agree with is I don't think we should accept things, because I don't believe that the Bible would say pray without ceasing. I don't believe that the Bible would say ask and you shall receive. I don't believe that it would say that God would perfect that which concerns us is if he wanted us to deal with all the every uncomfortable circumstance in our life. Yes, there will be times where we are uncomfortable. There will be times of turmoil in our life. That's not what I'm saying, but the Bible says that Jesus came that we may have life and that more abundantly. And I believe that he provided a way for us to have access to that abundant life and to stop a lot of the cycles that goes on in our life. And what we have to do is realize that it's the cycle. Sometimes it's the choices we make. Yes, that's true. But sometimes it's a cycle, and it's just for us to recognize the cycle. When it's a cycle, you'll see it's a pattern. And no matter what you try to do differently, you'll find yourself always in that same pattern. If it's relationships, you can say, okay, well, you keep meeting this type of person because you're always hanging out in this area, or you're always meeting people that run in the same circle. But if you can even go to another country, if it's a cycle and if it's something that's in your bloodline and follows your family that needs to be stopped, you'll find even if you go clear across to the other side of the world, you can meet someone in a totally different setting. So if you were meeting people in clubs, you can go and meet someone, let's say, at a business meeting. And it will still wind up to be the same situation. So someone can't say to you, it's where you're meeting these people. And that's what I mean. And you'll notice, I'm just saying that to explain what a cycle is and how sometimes you can notice the patterns. There's certain patterns in my family. I noticed things kept happening to me, and it happened to my mother, and it happened to my aunts. And I looked back and I had to sit down and I had to say, God, this is a problem, because no matter what I try to do, it seems like I can't come out of that pattern, that I can't come out of that cycle that seems to have been set in my life. And what I had to do was, there were certain things in me that I had to deal with. I had to go to God, and God showed me, okay, this is the open door. So you need to surrender this to me, and you need to surrender that to me. And once I surrendered the certain parts of myself that were not of God, that were not like God, that were hindering me, certain hurts I had dealt with in the past that I hadn't been healed from, and I didn't realize I was not over it. So it caused me to hold on to hurt. It caused me to hold on to the past, and it was an open door for the enemy to come in and out. The devil, when I say the enemy, that's what I mean, to come in and out and do whatever he pleased with my personality. And it would manifest in the most inopportune moments. And that's why I say, before you run out of a relationship, before you leave the job, before you remove yourself from the uncomfortable situation, as long as your life is not in danger, I suggest that you go before God and ask God to show you what's going on, or just sit down. People, everybody's at a different point in their relationship with God. and everyone can't recognize God's voice. And sometimes God won't, sometimes we can find God's will in his Bible, in the Bible, if we search hard enough, because he's left everything. He said everything, his will, in the Bible. So we either need to seek him, because the Bible says that he that if you're going to God, you must believe that he is, and that he that comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And I'm a witness. If you go looking for him with all of your heart, he will show things to you. So I just want to encourage someone to not accept the turmoil that's in your life. Don't accept it as the norm. Don't accept it as this is just how it is and it just has to be this way until I die. Jesus came that we may have life, and that more abundantly. He wants us to enjoy life. Yes, we will have pain. Yes, we will have sorrow, but there has to be a balance. There has to be joy in there. So we do have the right to go to God, and we do have a way out of our situations. So don't panic. Don't run just yet. Try to work it out. Go to God. Conquer that thing. And once you've conquered the thing that's holding you, you'll see that things will begin to change. You'll see, because you dealt with that thing that was an open door, things will begin to change. I'm not saying that you will not experience turmoil again, but that particular situation where you always saw the same type of nonsense, it will definitely begin to change. I am a witness. Stay with God, go to him, pray about it, hold on, and conquer that thing while you're in it. Be blessed.